Good Sunday morning, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Rick, and I'm in my backyard jungle. And today, I'm going to do a walk around, very informal, just showing you some blooms. And then I'm going to show you my most recent acquisitions, my Hoyas. And I'll probably show you this new rooting mix that I'm using with a lot of success. Maybe it's because it's so hot and humid this time of year, but Hoyas are rooting like crazy for me when I take cuttings. So let me show you guys that as well. So let me walk around and show you some blooms. And this morning we have a Hoya Pentaphlebia that keeps on blooming on this umbel constantly. And you are witnessing the opening of this flower. Most of the buds are still closed and some of them are open. So in about an hour they should all be wide open. It's a really nice yellow. I really like it. It's not really that fragrant, but the leaves are pretty large, and I really like the fact that it keeps on blooming. This is like, probably the 6th time on this umbel. Let's show you the leaf. Kind of almost resembles a glabra leaf in a way, but the flowers definitely are not glabra. So another one that keeps blooming for me this summer is Hoya Ben Vergari, and I just really love the that creamsicle orange color and the different tones of the corona. It's kind of like psychedelic almost, really shiny. So this is Hoya Ben Vergari. And let's see, over here, this was a mystery Hoya for me for a long time. I acquired from a friend here in Florida, and she had a huge specimen plant of this. But then I talked to a couple other Florida people, and they have it as Hoya citrina, which is now probably one of the verticillata Hoyas. So let me show you the bloom. The flower is a little more yellow than a typical verticillata, but it's very citrusy smelling, so I guess that's where they got that name. It's quite cute, and it has some another umbel forming over here. And if you see, it is growing in a 2-inch pot sitting on this hanging basket. And that is grasshopper damage. So yeah, this is Hoya citrina, or verticillata citrina, whatever you want to call it. So that's pretty cool. And over here is the always blooming Akaltata, Hoya Akaltata. And this is a huge encyclia that I acquired recently because of the green flowers, and it's simply tagged encyclia. So I'm sure it has a species name, but I don't know what it is. So I want to show you this orchid up here. Let me see if I don't break a leg doing it. This has been ignored up here because it's about 10 feet up. And Mother Nature provided all it needed for it to bloom, so it's doing really well. I can't even reach the tag to see what it is. There is a tag in there, but I'm not going to try to get to it. I'm sure you orchid experts will know, and maybe let me know below. Appreciate it. Hoya, I can never pronounce it. It's Patcharalii or something like that. I'll put it in the video when I do the editing. But this flower is quite gorgeous with its purple tips to the yellow, and I really like it. The leaves are pretty good too. I have had questions if this is the same as a Hoya, the Hoyas in Thailand is selling, but I'm not really sure because I got it as Hoya Patcharalii 29 about a year ago, actually. A year and a half ago. So my verticillata is finally on the way out. It lasted over a month, so that was very nice. And I want to show you a Hoya pachaclata. It has a really nice peduncle. Look at that, how long that is. And the flowers are quite beautiful, and it's fragrant. Let's see if I don't break it. So that's Hoya Pentaphlebia. Just opened this morning, I think, because it was still closed last night. So let me show you a couple other things. I never really talk about the plants on this spot here. This is probably a Hoya ciliata. I got it as a different ID from South Florida, but I'm wanting to confirm with blooms. So that's Hoya ciliata. It's getting pretty big and climbing up all the way up in the tree. It's kind of a mess here, but these Hoyas are all entangled into one another, but they seem to love it here, so I just let them be. This is a ghost fairy. This is a dark lord, philodendron dark lord. This is really beautiful. Seems to be happy there. I have a Calycina hybrid here. I've never bloomed it. And this is Hoya Bergari down here. And if you look up there, there's an RB dick that's climbing up all the way up to the tree. And that's a Rigida 605, EPC 605. That's also way up. There's, I don't know if you can see it, but there's growth all the way up in the branches of the tree. And I have a huge Henhaye pink here that is going and going. I think it's almost up to the tree. And I have a big, I don't know if you can see there, that's an Imperialis Palawan, and it's way up into the tree. Hopefully it'll bloom because the blooms on this thing are stunning. I saw it when I was in Thailand and I fell in love with it. So I hope I can get my ladder to reach way up there if it blooms up on the tree. That's Hoya species, Hoya Imperialis Palawan. And over here, I have one of these. This beautiful Hoya is Hoya SR 2009-05 from Malaysia. I think it was found by Cerisa Samade. This one over here is not too splashy, but I've seen some there. I have some back there that are really, really splashy. And this is a large pubicalyx. And that is my Hoya Germany that bloomed last week. So if you see one or two videos ago, I have a picture of it blooming. So a couple of things over here. I had to repot my burlmarks variegated because when I got it in the mail from an eBay seller, I swear the soil was like 25% fertilizer, which really boggled my mind. So it wasn't thriving, so I had to repot it, and since then it's really, really doing well. I actually got a few plants out of it, so they're putting out a lot of good variegation. And I got this from a friend about a year ago. It was a tiny little seedling. And this is a crystallinum cross magnificum. So it came from a seed, so we don't really know what it's going to look like when it's fully mature, but I hear that the magnificum is really a large anthurium, so I'm looking forward to seeing that full size. And here is the mix that I've been using to root my cuttings lately, because it's been so humid and the media that I was using would stay wet too long, so I came up with this and it's working really well for me. And basically it is my mix without the soil that I would add potting mix to it that I would get at Lowe's or Home Depot. But now I just use the coconut chunks, perlite, charcoal, and sphagnum moss. And it's about equal parts, and I mix it all up and I use to root my cuttings, and it makes it really easy for when people receive my plants in the mail. They can just keep it in here for a few weeks and then transfer it to their preferred mix if they wish. And this stuff kind of comes out really easy, and I'll show you how to do it. So if you receive one of these plants from me in the mail, in my new rooting mix, and then shake it in the water, and most of it comes out, and you are left with some really healthy roots that you can transfer to your own preferred potting mix. Okay, so I've had this Hoya for about, I'd say about 2 months. It came as a 2-leaf rooted cutting, and this is a very splashy Hoya carnosa Crimson Queen, I believe. And you can see it's still putting out some really, really impressive leaves, and it has a new growth point that's growing. So yeah, that's a very splashy Crimson Queen that I got about 2 months ago. Okay, this one I didn't get 2 months ago. I think I've had it for over a year, and I didn't pay much attention to it because it wasn't really that fascinating. It reminds me of small leaf verticillata, but after I put it under a grow light, it's really stunning. So I really like it. And this is called Hoya GPS 7724. I'm assuming it is some sort of verticillata. I'll know more when it blooms. So, but it's really cute. So can you imagine having a full hanging basket of that? That would be really cool. And next is Hoya sigeleitis I got it labeled as from Aceh province. And the beauty of this Hoya is it's a lot easier to grow than most sigillatus Hoyas. And when you give it a little more light, it turns like purple on the edges. And the new growth is a little pinkish. So it's definitely a cute Hoya to grow. And if you're looking at my planter, I received this as an anonymous gift from a viewer or from someone in my Hoya group, Rick's Hoyas, on Facebook. So I really appreciate whoever sent this to me. I really love it. And it weighs probably like 5 pounds. It's really heavy. And this Hoya I've had for about a month. It's Hoya paesto lepis, and the flowers are quite stunning. I haven't bloomed it yet, but it is doing really well. I have it in leca. I know I should have used a clear plastic cup to look at the roots, but I didn't have one at the time, so it seems to be doing pretty well, and it's put out quite a few new leaves, so I'm pretty happy with it. So that is Hoya paesto lepis. And if you do a Google search and look at the flowers, you definitely add this one to your want list. And over here I have Hoya mutiana. I actually don't know anything about this Hoya. I don't even know what the blooms look like. I got it about a month ago, and the leaves they get pretty stiff and pretty thick and nice undulating sides. And it's doing pretty well. I have it in palm and leca at the bottom. Seems to be pretty happy. It's put out new growth. So sometimes I get excited when I don't know what the flower looks like, and then it blooms, and it's really exciting to see it for the first time. So, but I might have to do a Google search and see what this flower actually looks like. The next one I have here is Hoya evalene. I've never ever heard of this Hoya. I don't even know what its flower looks like, but that sometimes adds to the element of surprise, which is kind of fun. It's a relatively thin leaf Hoya, and it's doing okay. It put out these 2 new leaves, but they have little spots. Maybe it's a little edema, but the roots look good, so hopefully it'll grow and bloom soon. And this is my starfruit tree. If you can see it, I don't know if you can see it, but there's probably over 500 pieces of fruit on there. And every afternoon the Quaker parrots come down and create a mess. They kind of like eat half the fruit, and half of it falls on the deck, and I have to come out here and pick every single piece of starfruit out. I try to get as many as I can. I give it to my neighbors, but there's just way too many starfruit. But it's kind of nice to see the parrots enjoy it. Let me see if I can focus on there. Yeah, there's like clusters of like 10 or more starfruit. It's really insane how much fruit this tree provides. I don't fertilize it. I don't do anything to it. And that is it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe and come back every Sunday when I upload a new video. And hope you all have a wonderful weekend. And I will see you next week. Thank you.